All right. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to Gaming Compute. Here in this podcast, we talk about finance, money, career, jobs, a little bit about education, just, about the economy as well. So this morning, we are logging into work together, guys. And I think, I had a bit of an epiphany and a weekend experience. Sometimes I don't really like to say like specifically when I'm recording this, but in case, some people are kind of sensitive to like time, and they're like, okay, if I've listened to this like before or after, after, way after that date, then maybe it seems a little less appealing because it's not on topic with the current situations maybe, but I feel like what I'm going to talk about here is on topic. So yeah. So being like on topic about it, it's just trying to keep things on topic. And one thing that I'm kind of noting is that, maybe I've been a little not too motivating just because of all that I've been going through. So I don't want to be like a burden to people, but at the same time, it's like, I kind of want to be real too. I'm not trying to just be like, oh yeah, this is how it is, and then like my experience in life is going completely different compared to what is actually happening in my life and what I'm actually noticing in the lives of others around me, or what people are telling me, or how other people are experiencing things. So all that being said, like, when it comes to the topic of work-life balance, kind of like mood shifting, depression, self-care, anxiety, a lot of those things, the whole concept that's coming up lately of quiet quitting, that we've talked about multiple times on here as well. I think, at the moment anyways, I don't know if I'm going to continue on this, but at the moment anyways, I think we're going to talk about, just the integrity side of things, because that seems to be something that's way more important. That, I came across this on Friday night, I think, and that was the night that I was, first off work for the weekend, and I had a previous week of just, if you guys listen to the recordings, how my recent days were going at work. It was pretty challenging, and so just emotionally challenging mostly. I feel like the demands of the job, I don't know, like maybe I'm just not in tune with it, and I just tell myself, and I'm a little bit in denial, telling myself, okay, the demands of this job aren't too hard, it's a pretty easy job, but they do keep piling on demands, and there is a little bit of a disorganized process happening between how the insurance treats us and kind of our expectations for work. it does get a little bit frustrating. It's just one extra thing that adds to the pile of things that we have to kind of consider. And so that's kind of one thing that I've been, not one thing, but it's kind of one thing that's been definitely a challenge for me lately, is trying to balance all of that. And, I don't want my integrity to change. I don't want my work ethic to change. I don't want to, do like mental damage to myself, or any emotional damage to myself, or any kind of other damage to myself, because, I'm trying, but I'm also not trying to get fired. I'm not trying to get into any kind of disciplinary situations. Just all around, I'm trying on my end to do what I feel like I need to do. So, it's been a challenge to try to figure that out by myself. Like I said, like I've done therapy before, but it's, the last therapist I talked to wasn't really all that helpful on that note. Like, they seemed kind of like, okay, like you're in a transitional phase and you do need to transition to something that's going to be better, but there was no real direct, like, how to do that or anything. So I spent like a couple months working through that, and then kind of realized, between that therapist and then feedback I was kind of being open with friends about, it was kind of like, a lot of it's going to be stuff I have to figure out for myself. And then a lot of it is like stuff that maybe there really aren't that many answers right now. Because I even noticed on the social work end of things, when I'm trying to help people with their job status and their job situations and like getting involved in work and things like that, like I do notice it is a whole lot more challenging to try to find these kind of answers for people. It's like, do they even exist? Like, do the answers even really exist? In an economic climate as it is, like, it seems like it's really hard to kind of navigate for myself personally, and hard to try to guide someone else as well. So those are definitely challenges arising. And yeah, sorry if I seem kind of like I'm not paying attention. I'm trying to log in here, and of course, you know how it is. There's always updates whenever you're trying to log back in after the weekend, and now everything's updating. It's like, oh my gosh. So, yeah. So we get kind of stuck in these places where we're trying to, do our best, because we know we've got to eat, we know we've got to pay the bills, we know we've got to take care of ourselves, our families, feel stable financially. But then how do you do that when the world around is kind of just like not catering towards that? Yeah, I did actually open up this book that to me can be a little bit of a triggering book sometimes too, but it's called The Adventist Home by Ellen G. White. And because I was raised in the Adventist religion, and then I kind of have my own perspective on things. Not saying that I do or don't agree with the religion or whatever. I just have my own perspective based on what I experienced being part of that culture. That there are different preferences that I have in my lifestyle that I think were healthier than what that church promoted. Overall, I feel like the general ideas are kind of all there, but I feel like a lot of it was it could be different. There could have been more beneficial ways of things being handled. And so, yeah, there's that. But yeah, I'm kind of trying to like work on myself with a lot of these things. Like, consider that, I do have a lot of power and control over my own destiny with these kinds of things, over my own lifestyle with these types of challenges, and trying to focus more on that rather than focusing on like all the other stuff. I don't really know, but yeah, overall it is a little bit of a challenge in some ways, to try and figure out, how to deal with this. Like, we're not really taught how to deal with these things, so I think a lot of us are just kind of winging it at the moment and just being like, okay, like, I'm trying, but is it working, and like, that's kind of what we're faced with a lot of the time lately. So, I'm trying hard, at the end of the day, that's kind of all we can do, is to try hard. So that's all I can really say about it. Is that seems to be, just trying to get the mindset right as far as like how you address your own level of integrity, your own work ethic, your values towards your own work ethic, and the integrity in your work environment. Being able to kind of like address that, see that, tune into it, change it as needed, to your own benefit when it needs to be, changed. All that kind of stuff is really just, it can really just be a complete challenge. So, yeah, I mean, people who are experiencing this, you're not alone, like, but, yeah, I guess we'll see, kind of overall, we're gonna have to see, like, what it is that can kind of shift. Like, I would really recommend, gravitating towards books and topics that talk about motivation and talk about, financial integrity, work integrity, just things that kind of, go towards your own values, to try to get answers that work for you, where you're at, because everybody's different. So, but yeah, with that, I'm gonna log off. I'm still having trouble logging into work, so I need to message my boss and tell them that this is taking way longer than I had expected. But, alright, thanks for listening.